Welcome to the Takarazuka Review Fan Podcast, where fans from around the world get together to talk about Takarazuka. Today's episode is going to be about Musumeyaku, and it's a small group today. It's just me, Jen in New York, and...
Julie in Arizona.
Yay!
Yay!
So we're recording this mid-January, and we haven't been able to get people together since like the beginning of December because holiday season. It's been pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't forgotten the podcast, I promise. So Julie, do you want to start with your happy thing?
Sure, it's pretty simple. There are some people who have been going to Japan this month to go see West Side Story. And my happy thing is that Alex arrived in Japan and sent me a picture of Monchi from the West Side Story program, and has just been really sweet about taking requests from me about get me this postcard or get me this bromide or whatever, and it's just nice. It's nice to have friends.
Yes, fandom friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always cool when there's one of those shows that draws everybody to Japan at the same time, because a lot of time people go for their troupe or for their actress, and people end up going in different months. But when you get that one show that suddenly everybody's there to see, it's kind of cool to see all the squee going on in social media.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to get... I know Carly's over there now, too, so we'll have to get her perspective when she gets back and has some breathing room again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool. So, what's the best thing that she's gotten for you so far?
Oh, I figure she'll do it on her own time. I just, was kind of asking for... have you ever bought stage photos just because somebody's face is in the background that you like?
Oh my god, yes!
So many like that. And I was just like, I don't care if it's background or foreground, just, whatever you find. So that'll be fun to see what comes up. I was doing that obsessive calculation of trying to figure out what day the stage photos will go on sale for both the Soragami shows. Now that I think about it, I guess that's not a happy thing. Alex was positing that maybe there won't be any news articles that have photos from West Side Story. But that's weird because I have a stage photo from one of the Star Troop West Side Story back in the day. So it's not like there would be nothing.
No, I think usually photos are fine.
Yeah.
I think it tends to be sound and video
and even
is when they run into...
getting the rights to do one song or something is usually okay. So I don't know if anybody's ever done West Side Story songs at a, Encourage concert or something like that. But they aired the rehearsal footage on Sky Stage, so that kind of has clips of different songs.
Oh, cool.
So it's not nothing. We'll get reports from people at the very least.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I mean, one of my great regrets is I always have wanted to see Moon Troop's version of West Side Story, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah. Unless there's some really janky bootleg out there.
Yeah, those don't tend to surface, though, in this fandom.
No, they really don't.
But, yeah. So, cool. Cool beans.
Mm-hmm. What's your happy thing?
My happy thing is there have been all these photos, and people have been talking about Koshiji Fubuki, who was Otokoyaku in Takarazuka a long time ago. She left Takarazuka and became a chanson singer, and that's actually what made her super famous all across Japan. And I don't know, there must be some anniversary that came up or something, because they've got a TV series going, and there's tribute concerts, and there've just been a lot of OG activity around all this. So there was a picture up in Makoto Tsubasa's blog. Makoto Tsubasa is a former Moon Troop top star, and she's just posting pictures of all the OGs who were hanging out at the tribute concert, and I was like squinting at the picture, and like most of them were pretty obvious, and I was like, wait, who's that? I was like, that looks a lot like Otori Ran, but she kind of looks a little old. Like, Otori Ran was a top star in the 70s, and she has not aged since then, so it was kind of
seriously.
Like, oh my gosh!
She always looks like she's, like you said on Twitter, like in her late 30s or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And even if you're not really into older Takarazuka, you would probably recognize her because she's done MC stuff for a lot of Takarazuka concerts and things. The company must really love her still. But yeah, that's my happy thing.
Yay.
So, we knew we had time to record something today, but we weren't sure what we wanted to record. So Julie suggested something Musumeyaku focused. So we're going to try and hit a whole bunch of points, different Musumeyaku we like, different quirky facts about Musumeyaku, and a little bit about Musumeyaku fandom today. And we wanted to kind of start with now in 2018. Wow, I almost said 2017. In 2018.
It's 2018.
Yes. Our current top Musumeyaku stars for all the troops. And I am going to give this one to Julie because I really only know Chappie at this point. I am so out of it right now. So, yeah, Julie, go for it.
All right. So we'll go Flower to Cosmos. Current Flower Troop top Musumeyaku is Senna Ayase, Yuki-chan, and she is currently the most senior as far as Ken. Mm-hmm. She debuted in 2008, which was pretty exciting and unusual to hear of her top promotion, because, you know, Mirio had top Musumeyaku that she inherited, so to speak, at first. And then Kano Maria-chan, who was, you know, in Shinko years, like a lot of top Musumeyaku are. And then Senna Ayase was, like, out of left field. Like, she seemed like she had passed the point where she was going to be getting lead roles. And so, yeah, I was really happy about that. I've seen her in something, like a review, Sante or whatever one of the recent Hanagumi reviews is. She's very cute. She has like a really, really cute voice. I don't know about her acting, but I imagine that she has a more mature quality because she's just experienced that way.
Yeah. I know we've talked about her a little bit on the podcast, like when it was announced that she was going to become top Musumeyaku. Yeah. And I remember another friend of mine in the fandom who's been a fan for a long time. I remember she really liked her, like when she was Ken 1, Ken 2. Yeah. So I remember when I heard the announcement, I didn't really know her that well myself, but I was like, oh, so-and-so's going to be so happy.
Yeah. Yeah. After all this time, you know, you have your eyes on a baby, and then you know, maybe life happens and you leave fandom for a while or kind of are not as involved anymore. And then you come back and you're like, oh, this girl that I liked when she was really young suddenly became top star. Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool. Moon Troop's top Musumeyaku is still Manaki Reika, Chappie-chan. She's amazing. She can do everything. I can really only say good things about her, and Jen, I'm sure that you can say good things about her too. She can be cute, she can be adult, she sings, she dances, she does everything.
It's really funny because this is the one Musumeyaku that I know, of course, having been a huge fan of Moon Troop, especially like while she was an underclassman and up through when she was partnering Masaki. I remember when she was in Otokoyaku.
Yeah, so do I.
So, and I remember when she was Masaki's partner in Der Zigeunerbaron, and she was playing a Musumeyaku role. She was still
Otokoyaku, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, who is this skinny Otokoyaku who really... She didn't have a Musumeyaku graces down yet, and her character was one of those, like, scrappy kind of nails on a chalkboard kind of roles. So when it was announced that she was going to become a Musumeyaku and be Masaki's partner, I was like, ooh, okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
But she seems to be a fandom favorite, even of people who don't really like Moon Troop. Everybody seems to love Chappie.
Yeah. I've seen her in Puck. I've probably watched reviews with her too. but I can't remember. But yeah, I've seen All for One as well. But so yeah, it kind of swings back and forth between giving her those really quote unquote spunky, cutesy roles, but I think she's done some, sexy stuff too.
Yeah, I really liked her in 1789 as Marie Antoinette. She was really good in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one that everyone talks about. I haven't seen 1789.
I finally saw it like 3 years after.
Nice.
I have this stack of Masaki DVDs that I have not watched yet. I'm just like keeping them for a horrible day,
So Snow Troops Top Musumeyaku is Maya Kiho. And she, I would say, is the one that I know the least about, unfortunately.
She's the most recent, right?
She's the most recent to the position of Top Musumeyaku. No, that's not true, because Madoka...
Hoshikaze.
Yeah. Yep.
See, this is what I mean. Like, I don't even know who the Top Musumeyaku are anymore.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, she's fairly young as well. I'm checking right now. I don't remember her debut year. But yeah, unfortunately, all that I know is that she's really cute.
You guys, you're going to have to help us fill this in by, like, putting some comments in the blog and telling us, like, your favorite of all these Top Musumeyaku's roles.
Right.
And why you think they're amazing, because I know there's a lot of Snow Troop fans out there, so.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Maya Kiho she debuted in 2012. That's not so young. She's, that makes her Ken 7 this year or something? Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Star Troops Top Musumeyaku is Kisaki Airi.
Yes.
She's a 96th, I think. So, she's been around for a while.
She's another one who was kind of like, they would promote her, and then they wouldn't promote her, and then they did, and everybody was kind of like, I don't know if she's going to be top or not.
Right. Yeah. And, did she transfer? I can't remember if she was always in Hoshigumi or if she was a transfer top.
No, I think she was always, because I remember seeing her in Tsuzumi Shio's, Angel's Ladder.
Yep, you're right.
She's
Maya Kiho transferred, but not Airi.
Yes.
But yeah, she's also very cute, and I really like 96, so go Airi!
Alright, so then our most recent is Soragumi.
Yes, our most recent and our most young is Hoshikaze Madoka. She is taking up the position of Top Musumeyaku after there had been a vacancy. We went, about 6 months after Misaki Rion retired. We just went for a short time without having a official Top Musumeyaku in Soragumi.
Yeah, but that was more like it gave him a chance to have 2 Top Musumeyakus, basically.
Yeah, well, it was interesting too because I recently watched Valencian Passion, the Valencia national tour that they did in late 2016, which was still before Midion retired. But she was doing a show with Todoroki Yu, and Ma-kun and a bunch of the troupe did Valencia, which has a lot of like prominent Musumeyaku roles.
Those 70s shows.
But none of them were the Top Musumeyaku. So it was really interesting because a lot of people got to shine in that show while Midion was off doing something else. So that was even before Midion retired. So it really was like almost an entire year of like really nice roles for different Musumeyaku to shine, like you said. But yeah, Madoka-chan really distinguished herself right off the bat with Shinko leads, and I've seen her in Portrait of the Air, which is kind of one of those like bittersweet love stories where the two people meet and they kind of have a reason to dislike each other, and they have to come around to the idea of love. And yeah, I was really impressed, definitely, with like the depth of her character and stuff. And gosh, what else have I seen of her? Obviously just like a lot of she's got a great voice, so I've seen her in like the concert Bow Hall Singing Workshop, I think it's called. And she's, gotten a lot of spots in reviews and stuff like that to show off her singing and dancing. So I'm really excited. Her and Makaze are so adorable because Makaze is so tall and she's so short. Somebody said something. It was like a Japanese Twitter that somebody on my feed retweeted that just like because they saw West Side Story opening day, and they were like, even though Madoka-chan was wearing heels, Makaze still had to like lean in really far to do like the stage kiss, and they were just talking about how like they were trying to get it right or something. Maybe they were both nervous, so they like held the pose for a really long time.
Oh my goodness!
Like it was so cute. The two, the silhouette, so to speak, of her being so short and Makaze being so tall.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited.
I wonder if we'll get a lot of lifts and pair dances if if she's small enough that she can pick her up and twirl her. That'll be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's kind of always based on the strength of the otakuyaku and the pick-up ability of the Musumeyaku.
Right.
Speaking of which, too, the next show that they're doing, The Skies on the Banks of the Red River.
Right.
The Red River comic, the manga, I've read the entire thing now.
Uh-huh.
And it has like a trope of the guy picking up the girl all the time, and
oh god, that's so shoujo manga.
It's so shoujo manga, and it's like a 90s shoujo manga.
Yeah.
And so they're like, he does this all the time, right? And it's kind of that thing where like she's short and he's really tall, and so they did like a posy thing like that on the back of the chirashi for Red River, but it's the most posed, fake-looking thing you have ever seen. It's literally like they had them posed separately and photoshopped them together or something.
I am checking this out right now.
It does not at all. Somebody put it on Tumblr. It doesn't look at all like she's actually holding Madoka and picking her up and swinging her around. It doesn't look anything like that at all. It's really funny and awkward looking.
Oh no!
They just love their Photoshop way too much.
Oh my gosh. So, let's see if it's on the PDF that you can download.
Yeah, because someone posted it like pretty soon after the poster went up.
Yep, there it is. I think we've talked about this before, but if you go onto the actual website now and you go and you hit the poster page, it'll actually give you an option to download a PDF, like really high quality PDF of the poster.
It's nice.
And it does have the back on it as well. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Action shot.
They tried.
That's pretty cute.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to put a link to that.
That's all our current tops. Awesome.
All right. So, you know what? Actually, we didn't talk about this before when we were planning, but we mentioned you were mentioning how Cosmos Troop didn't even have a Musumeyaku for a couple of months. And let's talk about that a little bit, because that's happened a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Like Moon Troop had it happen twice. And once was when Asako Senna Jun was top star. And I was kind of like you were just mentioning, I know a lot of people get really angry about it. They're like, well, there should be a top Musumeyaku. They don't get enough chances as it is. But I feel like when they do that, I've noticed they're bringing back a lot of 70s shows when they're in a situation like that. All those shows before the top star system was really in place, when Musumeyaku got a lot more respect.
Yeah.
And you get all these really awesome roles in these shows. Yeah, I miss that. Like, I collect old graphs and kagekis and things like that. And it's like, it was more of a balance. Like, you would have more Musumeyaku on the covers of graphs and kagekis back then than you do now.
I was going to say that. I think that may have been brought up before, that, like, nowadays, you never get a top Musumeyaku on the cover by herself. It's always with an otakuyaku or two. And, yeah, like you said, back in the day, they used to actually just put a Musumeyaku on the cover of graph by herself.
I think the only one who has had a solo recently was Hana-chan, right? Like, Hanafu Samari had, like, a kageki.
That's not recent. Yeah.
I don't know if there's been one since then.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. Because I've seen a lot of them where, like, Mihoko and Tonami and the ones who were right around the time or right after Ohana retired. But yeah, as far as vacancies, in Moon Troop, there was also the vacancy right before Asako became top.
Right.
Where she played Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And, like I said, it's kind of that thing where the top Musumeyaku sticks around with the next top Otokuyaku sometimes for like one more show. Isn't that what happened with Sayako? Where I haven't seen whatever that show is.
The one that Ayaki now.
Yeah, the one she did before Elizabeth.
Oh God, I don't even know if it was a grand theater show. I think it might have.
It might have been a tour.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've watched them, but.
Yeah, I can like sort of imagine the poster, but I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah. They were not a great fit together either, so I can see why that happened, but
yeah, so that was one of the times when there was a vacancy. Instead of announcing a new top partner for Sayako, they just had Asako be the female lead in Elizabeth, and then that was Sayako's retirement show, and Asako became top and got her own Musumeyaku partner.
Right, which is very similar to what Ma-kun just did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes. Yeah, they retired just shy of each other. No, you know what? I was just checking with Kurata. I knew that couldn't be right, because they wouldn't have a top Musumeyaku retire in not a grand theater show.
That's right.
So I was thinking it was Job and Dancer, and I was like, no, but Hanagumi Job and Dancer. But they both did it, didn't they?
Okay.
Something like that. They did Job and Dancer.
That wasn't a grand theater show, though, was it?
Right. That one was a national tour that, right after Rika retired.
Yeah.
That Sayako and Kurata did together.
Kenron or something like that, didn't they?
So, yeah, Takarazuka Kenron was the review part, and Glow of Sunset in Asuka was the play-half.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's bringing back memories.
Have you seen it?
I have, a long time ago. It's been like 12 years.
Kurata and Sayako's chemistry? You feel like it wasn't so good?
That show wasn't really so much yeah. I just remember because it was one of those shows where it starts with all of them as their younger selves. So I just remember like Kiriya and Yuki in like pigtails. Super cute. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of seems like Moon Troop has been the one. Well, I don't know if they've had the most vacancies, but they've kind of had them like back to back, where there was that period where Asako played Elizabeth, and then Asako became top. Mihoko was her partner, and then when Mihoko retired, they had like a year and a half where there was no top Musumeyaku. Like it felt like a really long time.
It was amazing. Like some of my favorite shows were during that period. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So then opposite of having these blank spaces, then we've got these Musumeyaku who've been top star of more than one troupe, which I think is very interesting. It hasn't happened that much since they sort of cemented the top star system. Like in the 60s and before, a lot of times the Takarazuka stars would just be moved from troupe to troupe for shows. Like they would have like a home troupe, but they'd be performing with everybody. Almost like a Senka kind of a deal. But they weren't in Senka. There was a Senka.
Right.
It was very confusing back then.
Yeah.
But late 70s-ish, when they started doing the more official top star system, since then there have been, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing somebody, but I think there have just been 4 since then who've been top star of 2 or more troops.
Okay, Ohana,
yes,
Hoshina Yuri, or no, Tsukikage Hitomi. Which one of them? Because they switched, right?
Oh my gosh, I missed Tsukikage Hitomi.
Yeah, well, were they both tops and then they switched? Or, like, I can't remember if they were officially tops.
5.
So then, and then also Danrai and Tanami, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. So, well, Haruka Kurara was first. She was top star of Star Troop from, like, 77 to 79. And then top star of Snow Troop from 80 to 84.
Nice.
Then there was Tsukikage Hitomi and Hanafuzumari.
Mm-hmm.
Hanafuzumari was in Snow Troop, 94 to 98, and then Cosmos when it started from 98 to 06.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I need to look up Tsukikage Hitomi now. So she would have been Snow Troop probably. I think they were just like one show together.
It was seriously like, 1998. And then, part of 1998 it was one troop, and part of 1998 it was the other troop. I just always forget which one came first.
And then she went over to Moon Troop, So she was with Tom first, and they did that one show together.
That's
and it was
right.
horrible. And then she went over and became
Well, it was funny, too, because
Moon Troop.
Ohana did a show with Tom, and it was horrible chemistry. And then Gun-chan did one with Tom, and that wasn't so good either.
Oh, boy.
No, wait, is that right? I'm trying to remember. Oh, shoot. All this switching around. I can't remember who was partner of who.
Yeah. But then Danrei was in Moon Troop from 98 to 01.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't realize there was a gap. I'd forgotten she was in Senka for like a year or two.
Yeah, she was in Senka for a couple years. No, okay, I'm looking at it. Gun-chan was Snow Troop and Star Troop. It was Star Troop that she was just a hot minute. She was top Musumeyaku. Like, literally 4 or 5 months. And
who was she partnered with in Star Troop?
So it must have been... Asajisaki, Mariko.
Oh god, that's right. I completely forgot about that.
Right at the end of Mariko's run. Yeah, we're thinking the opposite, because Gun-chan was Tom's partner. She went from Star Troop to become the replacement for Ohana. In Yukigumi.
Yeah. And then Shirohane Yuri, Star Troop 05 to 06, and then Snow from 06 to 09. Interesting. But, yeah, I wonder what makes them decide to do that with the Musumeyaku, because they have not really done that with any Otokoyaku.
As far as tops?
Yeah. I mean, there was a point in time where, like, again, while things were sort of gel-like, they'd have, like, 2 top Musume or Otokoyaku together.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't remember any, like, officially moving from one troop to another that I can think of.
Yeah, except if we, derail from Musumeyaku and talk about Otokoyaku for a second. Except for, like, didn't Haruna Yori, transfer to Senka and just be kind of top of Senka for a while, like Tom's doing now?
Yeah, but again, I wouldn't really count that as, like, being top star more in one troop.
Top of another troop. Yeah, it's not exactly the same.
Yeah. They're just their own... their own category.
Their own entity. Yeah, obviously the only double top kind of one in recent memory is Masaki and Mirio.
Before that, there were some in Star Troop in the 80s, but... Yeah, but let's not get derailed from Musumeyaku.
Yeah. No, speaking of Danrei, both she and Tono Asuka kind of, like, hung out in Senka for a little bit before, the right person came along, or whatever you want to call it, before they were assigned as someone's top Musumeyaku. I mean, I think Danrei is the most interesting case, because she could have just retired with Mami, and she didn't.
Right.
She was like, no, I'm staying. And they just put her in Senka for a while, and she did, like... The only thing I remember from her Senka years, I don't think I've seen it, but didn't she play, like, Melanie in one of the Gone with the Winds or something? It was, like, the non-top Musumeyaku role.
Yeah, I think so. She did a couple of things. I don't know. I have to admit, I didn't really like Danrei that much. And she was one of those Musumeyaku who, like, people either really loved her or they really did not like her. And I was kind of in that second category. So
she's very beautiful. Like, she's just like a statuesque person. And since leaving Takarazuka, she's done a lot of modeling and acting work.
Right.
Definitely the thing that I remember the most about, like, her singing in Song for Kingdoms is not great. It probably just wasn't the right range for her,
Yeah. I don't remember her being a great singer. I remember her being a good actress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I know you mentioned your own personal golden age.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the days that I loved so much in the late 90s, early 2000s, where all the top Musumeyaku were out of Shinko age. So, Hanafusa Mari became top Musumeyaku when she was still in Shinko years, but she stuck around so long that by the time she retired, she had, really become a mature top Musumeyaku. But around that same time, let's see. I think like we were just talking about Tsukikage Hitomi and Hoshina Yori, I feel like they were right around that Ken 7 range. It wasn't, not to shake my fist and bang the table too much, but it wasn't like the people now where it's like they're like Ken 4 when they become top Musumeyaku. I'm going to double check though.
Shirahane Yuri?
No. Shoot, I'm getting Hoshina Yori. Like we were just talking about where Tsukikage Hitomi, Gunchan was top star of Star Troop for 1 second, and with Mariko, and then instead Hoshina Yori became Mariko's next partner because Gunchan transferred to Yukigami. So she was
Hoshina Yuri's an otokoyaku.
Nope. Haruna Yuri's an otokoyaku. Hoshina Yuri was a Musumeyaku. Oh my god. See, I get those two mixed up though, because it's not even.
If I see the kanji, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's not that they have similar faces even necessarily. I don't think they do, but for some reason I get them mixed up too. Anyway, let me double check this. 1991. Yeah, I would say that they became tops right around as they were getting out of Shinko years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Hoshina Yori was 1990. So if she became top Musumeyaku in 98, 97. Ken 8. Yeah, she was already out of Shinko's.
She was her classmate became top star at the same time too. Is that Tsukikage Hitomi?
So it looks like actually Tsukikage Hitomi. Oh, I said it wrong, didn't I? Tsukikage Hitomi is the one who was 1990, and Hoshina Yori was. Nope. Oh, I'm getting messed up. Ohana was 1991. Hoshina Yori and Tsukikage Hitomi were both 1990. So yeah, you said, they became tops around the same time, and
I remember that because I remember
their classmates. Yep.
Talking to fans who had been fans around that time, and they were like, yeah, it was amazing that year. They were both classmates, Musumeyaku, both Ken 7 or Ken 8 at the time. Yeah. And it was announced that they were going to be top Musumeyaku. And everybody was like, what? Because people had thought that they had missed their chance. Kind of like Sena Ayase, I think.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
And then, so around the same time, Soragumi was formed. And by the time Soragumi was formed, Ohana had also, was out of Shinko age at that time. So she was Ken 7 or something when she became Cosmos Troop top Musumeyaku. And then as far as the other troops, and double checking here, it would have been Donrei. We were just talking about her. What year was she?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking
again.
That's why the wiki is our best friend. But I feel like it's about the same, 1992 maybe? What year was she?
So she would have been Ken... She would have been Ken 5. Yeah. Ken 5 seems to be about the magic number for Musumeyaku.
But I'm going to double check because I'm not 100% sure on that number. It's, we've both talked about, I'm sure, my mind is going. I used to have all these facts and figures up in my head, and they're disappearing like the cherry blossoms. They're ephemeral. My memories. All right, let's see. Yeah, 92. I was right. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means that when she became top
Ken 5.
8, it's 5 or 6. All right. Now, I think the Hanagumi top Musumeyaku at that time that was pretty young. Jun Narisa and then Sen Hosachi. Sen Hosachi was really young, as I recall.
Yeah, she was Ken 1 or Ken 2, right?
I don't think it was that young, but 95 maybe, and then becoming top in 96 97, 98 would have been. Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, there was this one time, when I started to get back into fandom about 6 months ago, and Makaze and Madoka were announced as the new tops of Soragumi, I was like, is it just like my imagination that the top Musumeyaku used to be more mature, or like was there actually a time when they were more mature? And basically I ran a bunch of numbers and it was pretty obsessive and ridiculous. And what I discovered is that there was always like one outlier, with first it was Hanagumi, and then maybe it was because Kurata was so young, Emi Kurata. So it was like, as I compared, because the way I did it was year by year. If you took every troop and you looked at across the board, 2001, what was the ken of every top Musumeyaku? 2002, what was the ken of every top Musumeyaku? But there was always one who was really young. So yeah, Sen Hosachi was 1994, and she became top in like 96, so that was very young. So there was always one outlier.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Yes. This is a thing that I have been ruminating upon.
Yes.
All right. Not a number thing, but so we always talk about how they pick Musumeyaku whose faces kind of match the Otokoyaku that they're gonna be paired with. That's what I've heard before.
Yeah.
And I know that's a very like there's more to it than
sure.
that. I know that. But that's the general thing that people are saying. So then I think back on how Otokoyaku used to have a lot of more variety, I feel like, in face shapes, body types, that sort of thing. I agree. Like, the last 10 to 15 years, I feel like it's become the boy band.
Yes.
Facial type.
100% agree with you.
Not in any way disparaging the top Otokoyaku of the last 2 decades. Like, they're very, very talented individuals, but it's become more and more sort of like, you can't even tell them apart when you look at their pictures sometimes, especially after they've been, edited for the Graph magazine or whatever. So, and I feel like because of that, they need to get partners who can match that cute face shape and make them look more Otokoyaku.
Probably,
so, I feel like because of that,
that's why they don't promote so much mature.
Even more, like, even if they're older, their face shape and their type seems to be a lot more, not necessarily cutesy, but they look very angelic so that they can play those cute roles if they need to. Whereas I feel like I look at the pictures and graph and stuff of the top Musumeyaku of the 60s and 70s, and they look so mature. I look at their ages and they're not that much older than the Musumeyaku we have nowadays, but they look more like people in their late 20s or early 30s. And I feel like, okay, so maybe it's because they're trying to get people who match the Otokoyaku.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like, and I kind of just agree with what you're saying, just with like face types and body types in general. Like, Nagisa Aki, Hoshina Yori, Danrei. I just feel like they have more of a interesting look, something that isn't so like streamlined, like every conventionally attractive young woman looks like this kind of thing. They just they look different and they look nice, obviously. So yeah, you're totally right that it's partly matching their partner, whether like personality, face type, that kind of stuff, and it's partly going for that young cutesiness so that they can, like you said, make the partner look more manly by comparison. But that's what a Musumeyaku does. We can pivot a little bit and talk about how amazing Musumeyaku are, but they say that it takes 10 years to perfect your Otokoyaku road, but we should never forget how much Musumeyaku do to be hyper feminine to offset their partners, and the ways that they gracefully put out one leg and kind of crouch a little bit to make themselves look shorter next to the Otokoyaku, and all the moves that they do. Like, just like Otokoyaku learn how to, like, spread their hands and, like, make their stance look wider and all these different things to make them look like they're men, that they're taking up space and everything. Musumeyaku also do things to make themselves seem light and flowery, and what I was going to say was behind the scenes, how much stuff they do, like making all of their own accessories, and
yes.
Designing their own wigs isn't maybe the right way to put it, but like having
styling,
right, having been in a Musumeyaku fan club, you know, they get a wig, they consult with someone about like colors and hairstyles, like, I need a hairstyle of the 50s, like, help me, you know, and they, I don't know if they consult with each other, or they consult with wig makers, but like you said, they style their wigs. They obviously have so much more like wig and accessories maintenance that they have to do compared to otokoyaku. And it's often the case that otokoyaku, if they are put into a female role, they talk about how I freaked out and I had to go to my Musumeyaku classmates and ask them, how do I do this? What do I do? Because suddenly they're in that boat where they have to be making the accessories for themselves, because I don't know if you guys have talked about this much on the podcast before, but there isn't like, you know, hair and makeup that people do that for them. They're expected to make that stuff themselves.
Yeah. All right. I just want to make sure that we don't make this episode too long.
Okay.
Because I know we want to talk about some favorites.
Okay, yeah.
So
are we about 40 minutes? Talk about that forever. Yeah, we're at 40 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So here's my thought. Let's talk about like our favorite Musumeyaku from each troupe.
We're just going to talk about tops,
but we have to keep it.
Okay. Just tops.
And we have to keep it short. So try and like hit your favorite thing about them, favorite show.
Okay.
And then.
Well, maybe how about I'll do one and you'll do one, and we can toss the ball back and forth for a sec?
Sounds good. Shall we do the traditional Hanagumi first?
Well, I was going to say, the first one who comes to mind, strangely, because I feel like I talk about Soragami so much, I want to talk about, well, I can't do both. I want to talk about Ranohana and Sakura no Ayane. I love them both so much. Okay, great. I love Ranchan so much. You probably know I fell in love with her when she was in Tsukigumi, and I was like really nervous that she did this like really sudden switch into Hanagumi to become top Musumeyaku. And it's great because she's a fantastic dancer and she's a fantastic actress. Her singing really took a lot of work to get it polished up, but the first top Musumeyaku thing that she did was Sabrina, and it's just a really good story, and it's really sweet, and it's the kind of role where she starts out young and cute, and then she grows up to be more mature, and that's really great. And then seeing Ranchan in later stuff with Tomu is also great, because she's so sexy, for lack of a better word. She's such a good dancer, and they put her in costumes, and they put her in situations where she can show off that mature quality that she has, and I was just blown away by her as top Musumeyaku. I was blown away.
She partnered a couple top Otokoyaku too, didn't she? Which shows a lot of range.
Matabun and Tomu, and then one show. Oh yeah, because I've seen her Elizabeth too. Her Elizabeth's amazing. With Mirio.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to do Ayane-chan.
We love Ayane too.
We do. She's amazing. You know what? I always felt like she was super, super young when she became top Musumeyaku, but she was actually Ken 5, which isn't that bad. And she was one of those people who had more of a different face. Yes. I feel like she has a longer face and a more prominent nose than a lot of like Musumeyaku you see these days.
Which is, like you said,
she used that
kind of matches Osa, because Osa has a long face and a long nose.
Yeah. And she just had this like classic kind of beauty,
classy, so classy.
Like. Yeah, and she played a lot of different roles. Like, she played cutesy Musumeyaku, but my favorite of her roles were the ones that were more, I don't want to say dark, but more mature, maybe? Like, she played the Black Lizard in The Black Lizard, which was amazing. That's one of my favorite Takarazuka
I need to watch
shows.
That again. It's such a good one.
It's been a long time, yeah. And then she played Gubijin. She played Yu the Beauty in Yu
that was
the Beauty.
That was her final role.
Which was kind of a very I don't want to say naive, but a very innocent kind of role. But at the same time, again, it was that classical kind of ageless beauty.
Yes.
Just amazing way to go out. Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely check her out. Yeah, she had a couple partners too, because she had Haruno Sumire and she had Matobuse, and I loved her with both of them. I thought, yeah. All right. Moon Troop.
Are you okay if I talk about Mihoko and you talk about Aono Yuki?
I love that you knew who I was
I won't choose for you. But I thought maybe you would want to.
You got it. Go for it.
Okay, I love Mihoko so much. I've been reflecting back. So Aono Kanami, we were saying she was Asuko's partner. I've been reflecting back on a lot of older Soragumi stuff, and Mihoko actually transferred. She was in Flower Troop and then in Cosmos Troop for a long time, and then she transferred out to Moon Troop to become Asuko's partner. And so she did a lot of great stuff in Soragumi.
She was with Mizu a lot in Soragumi, wasn't she?
She was with Mizu a lot because Mizu was like the Nibante at the time, so they partnered a lot. She had a lot of Shinko, great Shinko roles like Turandot, and there's something about her that is just so angelic. She has a beautiful voice and like this just genuine sweetness and happiness that her playing Sally in Me and My Girl as her last role.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of difficult to top that for me as far as like the role of Sally. I don't think anyone else can be Sally for me, despite the number of times that they've done it, you know. I just love her so much. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have specifics other than, like I said, she has a really great voice.
I remember a friend of ours, she was training to be an opera singer at the time. And she loved Mihoko. And I'm like, okay, if somebody training to be an opera singer really appreciates her voice, she must be a good singer.
Yeah, the friend that you're talking about was very critical of like different people's singing voices. And so yeah, Mihoko, iconic stuff is kind of her first and her last, I think, of Earnest in Love, and then Me and My Girl were such great roles.
Yeah.
Love her.
I love that you knew I was going to talk about Marty Ball. I guess.
I knew it.
Yeah. So, Aono Yuki, another transfer into Moon Troop. She started out in Star Troop, and she was kind of the quintessential Star Troop person. Like, she had that Star Troop-ness about her. We've talked about what makes Star Troop before. I don't even know if you could explain it, but she had it.
Something extra with a capital E.
And she's another person who had one of those very small, round faces, which I know is like prized beauty in Japan, but that makes you look almost too cutesy. But that was not her at all, personality-wise, on stage or off stage. Like, off stage, she was the boss.
She was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
her outfits, if you ever have a chance to see like her in Kageki or Graph or like old Irimachi Demachi pictures, her style was on point all the time.
Yeah, and she had a very like strong personality that like when I went to Ochakai with her, just like saw her on the like talking to her club and stuff, it was always like, whoa! Like she would have been so an awesome otakoyaku too, but it made it more amazing as in a Musumeyaku.
Absolutely. People seem to agree that, like Ume-chan before her, who also came out of Star Troop, she was cool. Yeah. She had a cool personality. It wasn't like, oh, she's so cute. Yeah. It was like, she's cool.
And I loved it because even though she had that cutesy face when she was on stage, she had so many amazing mature roles with Kirian, who became top otakoyaku very, very late. So they made a very mature and kind of dignified kind of couple. I loved all the shows they did together.
Other than Scarlet Pimpernel, what stands out to you as a good role of hers?
Everything. Well, I loved her as Belle in Prince of the Land of Roses. Like, she made a great Belle, which actually was more of an innocent kind of role, but she made it. She was Belle, you know? Not just the Disney version, but like the fairy tale version, everything.
Nice.
I loved her in her final role, actually, which I don't think a lot of people have seen Edward VIII, but she played Wallace Simpson.
Nope. Oh, yeah.
And that was
interesting story.
A very interesting story, and a very again, I keep using the word mature, but a very, like, mature adult romance, because, of course, she falls in love with Edward VIII, but can't marry him because she's a divorced American, and he gives up the throne for her, like, but the whole, up to that point, it's not, like, it's not a given, like, you don't assume that that's what they're gonna end up together, so it's a very, very interesting story. Definitely recommend it. Yeah, so that's Marimo.
Cool. All right. For Yukigumi, I probably want to talk about Tonami or Mika. Who do you want to talk about?
I'll take Tonami, if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. I swear, we're just, like, so predictable because, like, it's right all around the same time range that are, like, our favorites.
Yes.
So, Mika-chan, unfortunately, wasn't top Musumeyaku for a terribly long time because Tonami retired separately from Mizu, and then Mika-chan kind of was only top for like a year, and then she retired with Mizu. But she's a taller Musumeyaku, which is something of a disadvantage sometimes because they have to wear really short heels and really, you know, like I was saying, put themselves in such a way that they look shorter than the top Otokuyaku. But she also just had something different about her. Not kakkoi, cool kind of air, but she's, I don't know what it is. She's a really good dancer, so it was great for her to be with Mizu because their pair dances were just on fire. I don't remember if it was, I think it was Carnival that her and Mizu had just she was like wearing a green outfit. I don't know if it was a green dress or like a green pantsuit or something, but I just remember this really amazing pair dance that they did. But she also, I remember she was, the first thing that I really noticed her in was not a top thing. It was when she did a bow show with Kimu. And Mimi was like the main Musumeyaku lead. And Mika was like this girl who kind of like jealously is in love with Kimu. And she does kind of like unattractive things to get Kimu's attention, and so they work at a veterinary place, and she like intentionally makes a dog swallow a toy so that Kimu will have to treat the dog, and it's like a really creepy thing for somebody to do, you know. It's, like I said, it's unattractive. It's not a wholesome Musumeyaku thing. It's kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird, you know. So it was just interesting. It was an interesting story, sad story. But yeah, it just made me stand out to her because it was that kind of like, wow, she's kind of unlikable, kind of a bad guy, and that like makes her interesting because so many times Musumeyaku just kind of have these wilting flower roles that are not so cool. But yeah, other than that, Mika-chan, I guess what sticks out to me is her top Musumeyaku debut, which is Russian Blue, where she's this weird screwball comedy with Russians and magic users, and like it's ridiculous, but I liked it, and I got a cool poster. And yes, and Rio de Bravo is also a great review.
Now, was Mika the one who had the really famous father?
Yes. He was a writer, I think, or a playwright.
Okay, I thought so. I couldn't quite remember.
Yeah.
All right.
Kohe, it looks like.
You know what? I'm actually gonna do Tonami as my star pick because there was
cheating.
one other snow troop top Musumeyaku that I really want to talk about.
Okay.
Kono Mahiro.
Nice.
Sorry, can't pronounce it. And she was only top star for one show. One Grand Theater show.
Oh, yeah, because her and Boon-chan, right?
Yeah, and one Drama City show.
Sad.
But before that, she was like a huge star of Snow Troop. Like, she had 7 or 8 Shinko leads.
One of the most Shinko leads ever.
Yeah, and she had like 3 non-Grand Theater show leads before she became top star. So like she was a force in Snow Troop, and I remember seeing her first in a lot of her Shinko leads because I got a bunch of like VHS tapes back when we all watched VHS tapes. That was when they actually
put the Shinkos on VHS.
And so I got to see them, and I was like blown away by this young woman. Like her acting ability was amazing. And
she debuted in 96 and she had a Shinko lead in 96. Yeah. She really distinguished herself.
Yeah. And I'm sure even when she was still in TMS, she was probably the one who like had all the leads and all the shows that they did. But yeah. She played Anna Karenina in the first version of Anna Karenina that they did. What else? I loved her Queen Anne in the Shinko version of Man Called Bacchus. If you want to check her out in that is one of the ones that we've subtitled in tips. So if you want to check her out, And she was so cute with Bunchan, so I was so sad that both of them retired together so quickly.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of their top shows.
But yeah, I've seen it a long time ago. But Complete Devotion is one of those like, oh my god,
it's a rough one to watch.
Yeah. Blindness and self-sacrifice and
yeah. Well, it's like a obsessive kind of love.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think. Star Trek. You said you wanted to talk about Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll talk about Asuka for Star. Tono Asuka also debuted in Soragumi and spent like a hot minute in Soragumi, but pretty soon got transferred out to Hanagumi. So the places where you saw her growth mostly was in Flower Troop. And sometimes it seemed like she played really overly cutesy roles where she was doing like a thing with her voice that like was not super attractive.
Right.
Like sometimes not so pleasing on the ears. But she figured her stuff out by the time she got put into like a holding position kind of in Senka for really only 1 year before becoming top Musumeyaku with Aranke, with Toko. And I just love her so much. She, again, has a beautiful voice. Not everybody may agree with me, but I think she has a beautiful voice.
Yes.
And they did the first Scarlet Pimpernel, and so she's eternally my Marguerite. She was so like that mature and world-weary kind of woman, and she's just incredible. I recently watched her Shinko Elizabeth for the Flower Troop 2002 Elizabeth, and wow. The range, everybody talks about Elizabeth as like an ideal role because you get to grow from a young woman into an old woman. And for a Shinko girl, she really did a good job. That I do recommend the Hanagumi Elizabeth 2002 Shinko because it's incredible. Everyone's really good in it. But I was so impressed with Asuka. And I also really like Asuka. People mostly, it's funny because I talked about Mihoko and Ernest in Love too. People mostly remember the Moon Troop original Ernest in Love, although, side note, there have been a few different adaptations of the importance of being earnest in Takarazuka. It's kind of funny. So it's not like Ernest in Love 2005 was the first time that they did importance of being earnest. They've just done it in different under different titles, kind of. But Ernest in Love was like a Western import. Anyway, 2005, both Moon Troop and Flower Troop did Ernest in Love, and Asuka did it with Jody Sakiho as Jody's last show. And Asuka is also extremely cute as Gwendolyn, so I recommend that as well. And then
I don't think I've ever seen that version.
Yeah, no, I have, because it's got Jody and Tomu and like other people that I like in Hanagumi. But yeah, and then right after that was, well, not right after that, but Copacabana. So she did both versions of Copacabana playing the same character, and she's great. It's another world-weary woman who's like, you know, the bad guy, Rico, is like, you're getting old. I'm going to start promoting younger women, you know, and she's like, rude. How dare you be like, I'm old, you know? But she just does it really well. She's like this feisty, you know, Cuban woman. And, yeah, I love her. I love Asuka.
Yeah. She was another one that was kind of a fan favorite, I think, while she was top star.
Yeah.
All right. Tonami! Woo!
Yay!
So she had quite the moving around history while she was in Takarazuka. She started in Mood Troop, and then she was in Snow Troop, and then she was in Star Troop, and then she was in Snow Troop again. Yeah, I actually, the first live Takarazuka show that I ever saw was,
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Shigure Hill Road in Nagasaki, and Soul of Shiva, which was her first show when she got moved into Star Troop, and she played the Nibante Musumeyaku role there, which was another one of those kind of like fingernails on a chalkboard kind of Musumeyaku roles in a way, but I remember it so vividly. Like, it was like an amazing performance.
Despite the fact.
And I really enjoyed the character. Yeah. And then the next show, of course, was when she became top Musumeyaku, with Wataru. Yay. And I loved her with Wataru. Like, they didn't really do a lot of amazing shows together. They did a Barubara.
Yeah.
They did, you know, Copacabana.
Although it seems like, I know Kitty's been going through all of the Barubaras, and I feel like a lot of people liked her, their Fairs and Marie Antoinette, Wataru and Tonami.
Yeah, I think that was a popular one, and she did the Korean tour of Barubara as well, back in 2005. Yeah, I don't know, I just really loved her together with Wataru, and dancing-wise and performing-wise, I think they made a really good pair together. But I'm...
Oh, yeah, speaking of Copacabana, have you seen that one with her and Wataru?
Yes. Ages ago.
Yes.
And then I'm going to cheat a little bit and just say, you know, she was also very, very good with Mizu. Like, I think I saw most of their performances together live just because I was a huge Mizu fan, too. And, yeah... I miss that. I miss her with Wataru. I miss her with Mizu. I just miss Tonami. She was so much fun on stage. Yeah.
She's another very kind of like statuesque beauty.
Yeah.
That, and a very interesting face. And she's great.
And she, like we mentioned earlier too, she was another one who became top Musumeyaku quite late. Like, she was Ken 8, I think, when she became top star for the first time. Because she debuted in 98.
She was out of Shinko's in like early 2005, and she didn't become top Musumeyaku. No, she became top Musumeyaku in 2005. So she was, Ken 7, Ken 8. You're right.
Yep.
Ken 8. Yeah.
Nice. Kind of crazy to think she became top star at Ken 8, and she was top star of 2 troops.
For 2 partners, 2 troops. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What do we got? Soragumi?
I mean, yeah, we're like, oh, are we done? No, obviously not. Although it is kind of hard because I feel like, not only do I feel like I talk about Soragumi all the time, but we already talked about Madoka. I'll talk about Misaki Ryun.
Yeah.
Because I talk about Ohana all the time, and we talked about Ume-chan in the Soragumi Troop podcast. But Misaki Ryun also had 2 partners, and I didn't get the opportunity to see much of her live, except I got to see her right before she became Soragumi's top Musumeyaku. She did a bow haul with Miwachi, and I was just so blown away by her star power, by her like stage presence. I was like, okay, I feel good with this one becoming our top Musumeyaku, because she's really great. She's perfection. She's excellence. So she became top Musumeyaku with Kaname. She was there for all of Kaname's run, and then she also stayed along to be Makun's partner. And Top Hat is simply the best thing that there is. For Maku and for Mirion, what's one of the best Soragami shows? It's, one of those kind of stereotypical rom-coms with mistaken identities and things like that, but it just has something extra. And Mirion is, like I said, she's just like a consummate professional, where I feel like she's got such a good star power, but also has, that making her partner look good and playing off of her partner thing down really well. And her voice, again, she sings like actual opera songs in Citrus Breeze, and maybe another review, I'm not sure, but she's got an incredible voice.
Huh.
And side note, right now, she's doing Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, who's she playing?
The oldest sister.
Cool.
The oldest daughter, whatever, I forget their names.
Now, I remember a lot of people were saying when she was Oki Kanami's partner, they were like, she's being ripped off, like, she didn't get to do anything.
Yeah.
What did you think about her shows? Like,
so I've seen most of them now, and I do kind of agree with that. I haven't seen all of them, but of what I've seen, it is a little bit lame. She, like, so Galactic Heroes, she spends a lot of it not there, and it seems like the role of Kaname's character's sister, it has like a lot of memorability and importance.
See,
maybe equal to the top Musumeyaku, which isn't bad, but like sometimes it seems like they're not on stage enough.
Because like, all right, I'm going to admit, I really disliked Legend of Galactic Heroes, which everybody has heard me complain about it before. But having said that, I actually thought her character of Hildegard was one of the best things about it. And I thought she was on stage quite a lot. She just wasn't on stage with Konami.
In the second act. Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's like, what's the point of having a top Musumeyaku if they don't, like, interact with the top Otokuyaku? But, definitely, on the other hand, having them have their own stage time and their own stuff to do allows them to distinguish themselves as being like a separate entity from their top partner. So, I mean, you're right. Galactic Heroes is all over the place. Like, I wouldn't say it's like a great show. But, Hildegard becomes more interesting in the second act. Count of Monte Cristo, she, they get married in the beginning, and then Kaname goes missing for all that time because that's the whole thing about Monte Cristo. And Mirion gets remarried to Makun's character. So again, they don't have a lot of time to like be romantic with each other.
Now,
and she does kind of just seem like a pawn.
This almost makes me feel sorry for Hankyu, because they can't win when they do shows like this, because if they don't make them the romantic partner of the top star, people are going to complain. Right. But if they do, and the character doesn't have any screen time, people are going to complain. So,
yeah, no, it's true.
I'm sure they had the same thing when they did 1789. They were probably like, okay, do we make Chappie the romantic love interest, or do we give her Marie Antoinette?
Yeah. Yeah, which is why Top Hat is so great, because it both gives her like that romantic partner role, but also like gives her her own stuff to do. Because it's a 2-act, they get more time to like flesh out the characters and do that stuff. And then I've probably talked about this before, but her last show, Chateau de la Reine, again, is a character who has like her own motivations and her own things that she wants. And that is a really nice thing for a Musumeyaku, any Musumeyaku, to be able to have. Because a lot of the time, it's like they conveniently show up in order to be a romantic partner for the Otokoyaku. So the fact that they don't have a ton of romance in that one. It's kind of like they banter with each other, and at the end of the show, I don't know if this is like a super spoiler, but he's just kind of like, hey, do you want to maybe work for me? Like, be my publicist or something like that. And it's not like, be my lover, be my wife, be my girlfriend. It's just like, hey, maybe we should continue to see each other. I respect you as like a competent person who could be my publicist. So that's really cool in my opinion. So Yeah, up and down kind of roles with Kaname. I haven't seen all of them. And I think the one, Robert Kappa, I've only seen the previous version that was a 2-act that they did with Urara. But I think the role in Robert Kappa is a good role because, again, she's like a person with her own stuff. She's another photographer. She has her own job and things. And I haven't seen Oath of the Midnight Sun, so I don't know what her role is like in that. But I did feel like she got a lot of great roles, because obviously she did Aida and Elizabeth, and I haven't seen Eagle with Two Heads yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because...
Oh, Tom.
Yes. But yeah, Miryun is just exceptional.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. All right, so I'll do Sumika. Yeah. So... And this is going to sound like I'm just picking her because she's Yuhi's partner. That's not true at all. I actually really, really loved her when she was in Flower Troop before she got moved to Cosmos, when she was still like an underclassman. She was another Musumeyaku that a friend of mine really, really liked a lot. I remember when she had the Shinko lead in Black Lizard. Yeah. Like, my friend was like, I'm going to give her a flower. I was like, okay, you do that. And I was like, who is this girl that my friend is all crazy about? And I really appreciated, like, she did Gin-chan's Love, which is kind of a crazy, crazy show. If any of you have seen it, it's kind of indescribable.
Yeah.
It's very Japanese humor.
Yeah, I feel like it's another one that's a little bit, from our perspective, a little unromantic. Or
yes, definitely. It's not a romance. It's a
yeah.
And it's not really a screwball comedy either. It's kind of a dark comedy. It's a dark Japanese comedy kind of a show. But I really enjoyed seeing her in that. And then she was actually partnered with Yuhi together in Flower Troop for that. And then so when it was announced that they were both going together to Sorogumi to be top stars together, I was like, yay! I loved her in Casablanca. I thought she was amazing in Casablanca. I don't know if that's just me, but what else did I see them? You know, I still haven't seen all of Yuki and her shows together as top stars in Sorogumi, but I just loved their chemistry. And people would think it's kind of crazy because, I mean, Yuki had been in the troupe for so long. Or not the troupe, but in, like, the review for so long.
And she
the
was
age gap between them was
senior for...
Yeah,
the age gap, well, the Ken gap was like 13 years. I think the age gap was also around 13 years.
So you wouldn't think that they would work together, but they did in some strange, amazing way.
Have you seen Shangri-La?
I haven't. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it or not. That's really sad.
You should watch it.
I will, yeah.
For both Yuhi and Sumika, it's definitely an interesting role and an interesting story.
Yeah, that sort of post-apocalyptic craziness.
Yeah, which is not really something that you would think of Takarazuka doing.
Yeah, I feel like I must have watched it when I got it, but I don't really remember, so maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I started watching it and didn't finish. I'll have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
But yeah. I remember I was so upset because I was looking forward to seeing them together in Valentino. And I had tickets, and then earthquake, and the theater was shut down, and they canceled the performance. I think that's the only time I've ever heard of that happening recently. And it
was pretty intense.
They never rescheduled it, and they just had it in Drama City, and I couldn't get down to Osaka.
No, they did reschedule it. They put it on, like, in the summer of the same year or something. It was very offset, because the runs were supposed to be back-to-back, but instead... they restaged it later that year. But they did. They did it in Seinencon.
I don't think... I don't know. I didn't see it for some reason, but...
Well, at that time, were you still living in Japan, or were you going back for a trip?
I was living there. So I would have gone to see it if it was... Oh, wait. That's right. Yeah. They rescheduled it to August. Oh.
Yeah. So that was like spring that the earthquake happened. It was like February.
What else was going on in August? You know what? I was probably somewhere watching Moon Troop. And I couldn't afford it. I don't remember, but I still have my ticket from the March run that never happened. So
yeah.
It was a bummer. Yeah, but that's Sumika.
Well, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah. We wanted to talk about fan clubs a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, just like the the short version, obviously, is that Musumeyaku fan clubs tend to have a lot less people, and it can be very iffy, even when a Musumeyaku is top Musumeyaku, like, every day they might not even have someone with them, which seems unusual for any, otakuyaku who's even, like, Shinko level popular, usually has fan club members with them, like, every day. But the general numbers are lower, and I don't know if, like, anyone knows off the top of their head. Tell us in the comments if you know of certain Musumeyaku who had really big fan clubs. I feel like Nana had a big fan club, and, like, Ohana, obviously, but she was around for a really long time. But one of the things that you had mentioned, Jen, was that a lot of men tend to be in, or you tend to see more men in Musumeyaku fan clubs, which is really fun. And if anyone has ever felt like, oh, men in my Takarazuka, that's weird, like, let me tell you that they are the sweetest.
Oh gosh, they so are, yeah.
They are such sweeties, and I encountered 2 or 3 married couples in my Musumeyaku fan club where both of them would come to Iridemachi and come to
gosh, that's so cute.
fan club events. I know, it was just like taking care of their daughter kind of thing, looking over them and watching them, and it was really sweet.
Yeah, I feel like there might be more men in the fan clubs, but they don't participate in Irimachi and Damachi.
Come. Exactly.
Whereas I felt
somehow they feel like it's more okay.
They always felt like it was okay. But I always felt so bad for them because troop wear is not designed for men. So, even as a foreigner, like, sometimes our body sizes, like, I was really skinny back then, which I am not now. There's no way I would fit into a lot of fan club wear. But, like, and I was, like, just shoving myself into these shirts and stuff. Like, I can't, a lot of the guys would just kind of drape it over their shoulders because they couldn't fit into it. I felt so bad.
Yeah, kind of hang it off the end of your bag or something. Totally.
But.
Or, like, a really pink scarf. We had a pink scarf for one wear, and we had, like, a coral pink kind of, it had like a ombre, like a gradation from orange to pink. Yeah. But, a little stereotypically girly. Yeah,
which is fair enough, I mean, it is.
But scarves are nice, you can just wrap it around somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, the only Musumeyaku ochakai that I've been to tend to have been their final ochakai. So I'm sure my perspective of what a typical Musumeyaku ochakai is not reflective of the entire experience. But in general, even though it was the final one, and I'm sure there were more people there than usual, they seem to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. They're pretty small. Like I said, if you compare, somebody who's Ken 6 Musumeyaku and somebody who's Ken 6 Otokuyaku, and you go to those 2 ochakai, at the same time, or you know what I mean, or same performance run, you would see that the Otokuyaku has a lot more turnout.
Yeah. Although Ken 6 Otokuyaku tend to be smaller.
I don't know why I picked that number specifically.
No, that's fair, because like most Musumeyaku are. So maybe that's it. That's the secret. They haven't had as much time to build up a fan base as Otokuyaku do.
Which honestly doesn't make sense, because Musumeyaku get pushed faster. So you'd think if they were going to collect a fan base, they would start doing it sooner. Like Madoka, she got, her first Shinko lead, like, within 1 year, basically, of being in Soragami, so.
Yeah. And I think some of that is the fans who tend to be fans of stars before they get officialized. Like, I think some fans enjoy that atmosphere a lot more, where it's not so, it's not rigid, as uniform and rigid. Yeah. So, and then once the Musumeyaku is forced to start, like, an official fan club, some of them probably are like, okay, time for me to move on to the next star.
Right. Or like you said, maybe some people are the opposite, where that unofficial fan club atmosphere is a little too intimidating, or... Oh,
I feel like... I mean, this is true for all Takarajin, but in a way, being able to see the Musumeyaku offstage, especially in a place where they're with their fans, but not, like, being observed by other fans, I feel like you get to see more of their actual personalities, which is kind of fun, because they're people. They're not, like, dolls, so it's nice to actually see them be themselves.
Yeah, I it's like you said, going to people when it was their last ochakai. I went to Hizuki Hana, was it her ochakai, or was it her farewell party? I think it was her last ojokai, and then I went to somebody else's farewell party. But yeah, she really loves Takarazuka, and she just talked really candidly about how much she loves everything about Takarazuka, and she just seemed like a really cool person, a really great person, and
she went through a lot of adversity.
She did. I was just thinking about that. She didn't actually get that many different roles as a top Musumeyaku because she not only obviously did she miss out on a couple of roles because of her accident, but the first Grand Theater show, they then put on that same show as a national tour, so she was playing the same role for like 6 months. And then when it was just about time for her to be doing something else, that's when she broke her ankle. So, yeah.
Ugh.
It's kind of a bummer.
Poor thing.
I feel like it's like I retroactively feel a little bit cheated of like different types of roles that we could have seen her in if her and Tani's run had been longer, or if they'd done something. If they'd done something other than that national tour and that awful Berbara, what we could have had.
You know what? I feel like it's almost amazing that we don't have more injuries.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean,
you know, of stars, I mean.
Right, not to get too, like, dark about it, but, like, you know, they work so hard, and everybody loses weight when they become tops, and so they just seem so skinny, and
fragile.
Yeah, and, like, you don't necessarily hear about this stuff if they, like, recover in time to be in a show, but I've heard of people...
Or recover enough to
perform, right? But I've heard of people fainting in rehearsals, and, like, lots of different stuff can happen. And I'm just really glad that I guess they take care of themselves, you know, enough to, because they work so hard nowadays. I was looking at like schedules of older shows, and you know, the performance runs used to be longer. You and I remember when each Grand Theater in Tokyo run used to be like a month and a half rather than just 1 month each. It seems like they change so fast from one different show to the next and one different role to the next. They just work their butts off.
Yeah. Although I was going to say, the longer runs, sometimes they would be split too, though, because they would do like the Grand Theater show.
And then a bow hall in between.
So I'm like, oh man, so then they have to go back to their...
That would have been really hard too.
Yeah, that presents its own struggles, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'd be very confusing.
All right. I am going to wrap this up for us, but I want us to end on a happy note. So, Julie.
Yes, please.
Tell me, like, what young Musumeyaku are you, like, really excited about right now?
What? Oh, well, shoot.
Is there somebody that you're watching?
Yes. Hanaki Maya. She is in Soragami. And she is currently kind of like the Nibante Musumeyaku in the Drama City Nippon Seinenkan show that they're doing, which is Immortal Thorns. And it's not a big role, it's not my favorite role, but Hanaki Maya herself is just like a little angel. She's got this wonderful voice, a really excellent voice. I was just saying I saw her in the tour that they did of Valencian Passion, and she gets like a solo where the top pair are dancing, and she sings like a background solo.
Those are always amazing.
Yeah, and she's just incredible. She just has that radiance, you know, that like you see this beaming little star and you're like, glow little star, rise, go somewhere. So she's great. She's a girl that I have my eye on for sure.
Very awesome. All right. And one other thing I want to put on this podcast, I was going to say at the beginning of the episode and totally forgot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could send us some questions that we could use in kind of a Trivial Pursuit type quiz. Ooh. If you have any question ideas, please send them to me. I'm trying to think where you could send them that people wouldn't see the questions and the answers.
Do you have like an email address that's specifically for the podcast? Set one up.
I think we do, but I don't remember what it is. You know what? I will put it in the blog. So think about some ideas of what you might be able to ask. I'm looking for ideas because if I ask the other podcast members, then everybody's going to know the questions, the answers ahead of time. So I need you ladies and gentlemen to help me out so that I can get some top secret Trivial Pursuit questions about Takarazuka. That sounds fun. Yeah, so anything you can think of, or if you're really bored one day, you can like click through the Takawiki and be like, aha, make up some questions. Yeah, so send them my way. Check out the blog post for this episode and I'll have the contact deets on there. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Julie.
No, thank you for hosting this episode. Letting me talk about Musumeyaku for an hour and a half.
This was fun. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Many thanks to Michael B. and the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakugoro. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying our podcast.